Sanitation and disinfection. To get started, let's protect ourselves. First with eyewear, and then an apron and gloves. Not only is this to protect yourself, these are also EPA and OSHA guidelines for protecting yourself against splash and spill and contact with hazardous materials. We may not think that these materials are hazardous, but all it takes is one glance at the ingredients on the back of the bottle and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You will learn how to sanitize and disinfect tools and implements with Shipe Shape and Barbicide. I use common tools for measuring: pitchers, measuring spoons, the cup that comes inside of your bleach container is recycled, and also regular measuring cups. This will help you get the accurate measurement each time. The directions for the Shipe Shape say, mix 3 tablespoons of Shipe Shape powder into 1 gallon of warm water. After removing the hair and dirt from your combs, brushes, tools, and implements, soak in the Shipe Shape solution. Remove, rinse, and air dry. Items are now ready to be disinfected with Barbicide. I'm filling the pitcher to the 1 gallon mark. Once the pitcher is full, we will pour it into the basin. So now we will measure out 3 tablespoons of Shipe Shape. And as you can see, I'm using a full tablespoon measure. Checking my directions to make sure that I completed them. Mixing the solvent into the solute to make sure I have the proper solution and it's thoroughly mixed in. Proceed to cleaning your implements and tools. I like to use this small brush or a nail brush to make sure that I scrub the corners of every container, to make sure I get in between the teeth on combs and brushes, and to also make sure I get any skin that may be left on skincare implements and nail implements. This is very important to get all of the debris, built up grease, dirt, product that may be on your tools, implements, and containers. I'm cleaning this container because I will use it for my disinfectant solution. And you cannot put disinfectant solution in containers that have not been properly sanitized. This training video is used in all of my salons. And so it is very important that I show extensively how to use the brush to clean items. You may think that it's not important and this is a paint drying effort, but it's not. Many people have not had to properly sanitize items before, and so they may not understand the expectations. So this is a very vital part of the video. Please do not skip through it, but take time to watch. After making sure that all my tools and implements have been sanitized, I will now empty the solution and sanitize the basin in the sink. So now we're going to proceed into rinsing. We're going to rinse the bucket. We're going to rinse our container that we're going to disinfect in. We're also going to rinse our tools and implements. I am rinsing the outside of the containers. I'm rinsing the inside of the containers. I'm going to rinse both sides of the tools. I am also going to rinse out the sink. I am placing some towels down and making sure that my dish drying rack is inside the sink so that the water doesn't build up on the countertop. Whenever you have excess water that builds up on the countertop, it ends up on the floor, and this can lead to another hazard in the salon, which will cause a slip and fall, water on the floor. So as I go through and rinse the tools and implements, you want to keep in mind that any disinfectant solution is contaminated once sanitizer is introduced into it, or if you have excess water on your tools and implements before you put them inside of the disinfectant solution. So what you're going to see me do is pat these items dry. Our salon area is very small. Our back bar is even smaller. So using the pat dry method instead of the air dry that was on the directions is more effective for us. Now that our tools and implements have been properly pat dry, I'm going to pat dry the rest of this container. Once again, excess water dilutes the strength of your Barbicide, so patting even the container dry is important. You want to have a bunch of water left in there. I'm bringing back out my measuring pitcher, and I like to use the caps that are found inside of your lightener containers. These are awesome tools to keep around for measuring Barbicide. Barbicide directions include: mix 2 ounces of Barbicide and 32 ounces of water. Barbicide is used for hospital, healthcare facilities, tanning facilities, beauty salons, barbershops, and hairstyling establishments. I just want to take the time to express that 32 ounces of water actual equals 1 quart. 1 quart is equivalent to 1/4 of a gallon of water. What you're going to see me do is actually tilt my head to look at the measurement, not pick the container up. Once you pick the container up, you discombobulate the water. It moves and you don't get a proper measurement. So I'm measuring the water as it sits. Pouring the water into the Barbicide solution. Once my tools are placed inside of the Barbicide disinfectant, you're going to notice that some of them are doing some major floating outside of the disinfectant solution, and they are not fully immersed. When your tools and implements are not fully immersed inside the solution, they are not being properly disinfected. You see that brush? You see those clips hanging out? So I actually need to go back and mix up a second batch of disinfectant. This is common and it happens in the salon all the time. You should not just say, oh, it's plenty and walk away. You should go back and measure up a second batch so that you get proper disinfectant. This is an EPA and OSHA guideline, and so we don't take shortcuts here. So now that I've finished mixing up my second batch, I am double checking to make sure that everything is fully immersed, and that is a proper immersion of tools and implements and brushes inside of a disinfectant solution. I'm now going to put the top on it so that my solution does not evaporate, and set the timer for 10 minutes. All right, see you in 10 minutes. Our time is up. We are going to go ahead and lay another towel down. We're going to do the pat dry method again. Your disinfectant can be stored and used several times, but this is my salon's disinfection method, and we use the same container to sanitize, disinfect, and then distribute everyone's utensils. And so this just keeps clutter out of the salon, and it also keeps the disinfectant clean by changing it daily. I am properly rinsing and drying the container because Barbicide should not come in contact with anyone's hair, skins, or nails. So proper rinsing is essential. And then the pat dry method, of course, because I do not have the space for air drying again. So I'm just rinsing off all of the tools and implements using my sprayer, my favorite, Action, and flipping them over, turning them inside out, making sure that everything is properly rinsed. No disinfectant solution should be left on any of your tools and implements. You should not grab tools and implements out of your disinfectant and proceed to use them without rinsing. So I'm just patting down all of the tools and implements, combs and brushes, making sure they're nice and dry before I proceed to place them inside the container. And at this time, I'd like to just talk about a couple of safety and sanitation salon ideas. If you don't have a duty list in your salon, I would suggest that you make one. It's not one particular person's job or the owner's job or the assistant's job to be on top of sanitation. It's everyone that has a license job to be on top of sanitation in the salon. And so we should take turns. Everyone in your salon is not going to be as sanitary and care as much as everyone else. And so this eliminates the factor of one person being in charge of it and it feeling like a burden. Please create some checklists and some duty lists. It will definitely help with keeping your salon safe and sanitary because everyone that has a license has a responsibility to this action. So as we finish up here, once everything has been sanitized, you are going to disinfect it. Once everything has been disinfected, you're going to put it in a clean, dry container with a lid and store it there until it's ready to be used. That is proper disinfection. If you don't have Shipe Shape or Barbicide, you can still sanitize with common liquid dish detergent and disinfect with bleach. So we're going to show you that method now. The directions on this liquid detergent say mix 1/2 ounce. So I'm using that trusty ounce cap that comes inside of the lightener container and filling it to the halfway mark, putting inside the basin. Now I'm going to fill the water up to a full gallon. The top of the measuring unit in the picture. So once the water has reached its measurement, go ahead and put it inside of the basin and mix the solution up a little bit with my hand. Now I proceed to use the brush and comb to clean each other. This is an excellent method if you don't have one of those little nail brushes, the bristles on a brush that you're already going to sanitize can be used to get built up debris in between the teeth of the comb, as also the comb can be used to remove any debris that may have built up at the bottom of the bristles of the brush. This method of sanitation and disinfection can also be taught to your guests so that they may use it at home to clean their own tools and implements, combs and brushes, nail files, especially your guests that may have a disease or disorder that they may need to stay on top of. They want to make sure that their tools and implements they use regularly are sanitized so that they can eventually get rid of any hazardous pathogens. So we are going to place a towel down once again to catch the excess water, keeping our countertops nice and dry so water doesn't end up on the floor. We're going to pat dry our tools and implements that we just got finished disinfecting. Once again, make sure you rinse out your container and your sink. So now we're going to use common household bleach as a disinfectant. The directions for mixing your common household bleach is 1 cup of bleach to every 10 cups of water. I wanted you to see me pouring the bleach into the container, so I had to hold it over the basin for a little bit. And then we're going to fill it with 10 cups of water. You want your water to be tepid or cool. You do not want to use hot water. Hot water will cause excess fumes with the household bleach, and that could be very hazardous to breathe in. We're now going to place our comb and our brush inside of the bleach and water disinfectant. Make sure that it's fully immersed. Go ahead and cover your bleach disinfectant solution so that it doesn't evaporate, and set your timer for 10 minutes. Unlike Barbicide, your bleach and water disinfectant will corrode your tools and implements. And so it is very important that you stick to your 10-minute timer, and directly after the 10 minutes, rinse so that you don't have corrosion. We are going to make sure that we rinse all of the bleach and water disinfectant off of our container, and we are going to rinse our tools and implements properly. Using the pat dry method, we are patting the container down because we're going to use the same container to store our disinfected tools and implements. Next, we will safely refill, which is a common practice in the salon. First, you want to place your item inside of the sink to prevent spillage on the countertop. We're going to use a funnel, place the funnel inside of the bottle to be refilled, and pour your refilling solution until the bubbles reach the top of the container, not overflowing out of the container. Once that's happened, you want to go ahead and just put the cap back on properly. So we're going to talk about how do you know if something is a disinfectant or if it's a sanitizer. Kills germs is the first thing that you wanted to say for disinfectant. And then you want to check the ingredients and the directions on the back. The ingredients and the directions will tell you which germs it kills and if it can be used inside of the salon as a disinfectant. Remember, you're looking for something that is a germicide and a fungicide killer. This is actually a multi-surface cleaner, which means it's a sanitizer, and you can verify that by checking on the back. It doesn't tell you any of the germs that it kills, so you can guarantee that this is just a sanitizer.